if you have a good work ethic, you're going to automatically eliminate about 80% of your competition. This is probably the best time I've ever seen to be self-employed. Business is the ultimate inner game. It's always going to show you where you're not good enough and where you have to show up. You learn a lot more talking about things that don't work than the things that do.
Matthew Stafford is an entrepreneur, e-commerce expert, and founder of Build, Grow, Scale. Known for pioneering revenue optimization, he's helped thousands of store owners scale past 7 and even 8 figures using a proven data-driven approach to boosting profits.
Virality is not predictable. Data and analytics is, and it's very agnostic. It doesn't care about your product. You do not have a brand unless you can stop running ads and still make sales. I always tell the people, the issue with your site is you're looking at your website as how do I make more sales? Instead of the client, when they come to your site, how do I solve my problem or how do I find what I'm looking for? When you start looking at your website that way, it's just a small paradigm shift, but it's a huge difference in how profitable you are.
Hey everyone out there, my name is Alan, CEO of FreeCashflow.io, and welcome to Profit Powerhouse, the podcast where we sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs to cover the secrets behind their success. We're here to learn what drives their growth, the challenges they overcome, and how they master their finances. Our goal, to help you achieve the same success while maximizing your profit. Let's dive in. Today's guest is a true force in the world of e-commerce, entrepreneur, founder, and the mastermind behind Build, Grow, Scale, Matthew Stafford. With decades of experience across brick and mortar, software, e-commerce, Matthew has helped 8-figure businesses grow beyond their imaginations. He's best known for pioneering revenue optimization, a data-driven method that revolutionized how e-commerce business increase profits, not just traffic. He's a sought-after speaker, a leader in the space, and the driving force behind BGS Live, the largest e-commerce optimization event in North America. If you're looking to grow smarter, scale faster, and make your store wildly more profitable, this is the episode for you. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Matt, can you just go over a little bit for the audience here, a little bit more about your background and what inspired you to start your business?
Yeah, so I actually, right out of college, ended up buying the business of the gentleman that I was working for. And that was landscaping and like minor construction. And over the period of the next 23 years, probably after about 4 years, it kind of morphed into a concrete business. And then it ended up being commercial concrete. So I was on the road about 200 days a year.
Wow.
And just realized that we were traveling all over the country, pouring Menards, Lowe's, Home Depots, um, Walmart's, big box stores. And I just realized that I wanted to be home more. And I went to a Tony Robbins event where he was selling a program called Money Masters, which was a monthly DVD and book that went along with the DVD. And the first one that I received, it was Frank Kern talking about how he was selling ebooks on how to teach your parrot to talk, doing like $50,000-$60,000 a month. And it was digital download. So it was pretty much pure profit. And I was like, oh, wow, that's very interesting. I've never used my computer for anything other than to send blueprints and proposals and contracts and stuff like that, but never to sell anything. And so I kind of started looking in that world. I dabbled a little bit with SEO, didn't like it. And then a t-shirt platform came out called Teespring, which is where you could basically come up with a design, put it on a t-shirt, and then run Facebook ads to it and sell them. And over the next 3 to 3.5 years, I ended up selling about $15 million worth of t-shirts. So I did really good at
Quite
it.
a bit.
Yeah. And got really excited, made the determination I was going to sell my concrete business, which I did, and went into full-time online e-commerce about 5 years after that event with Tony Robbins.
Oh, wow. That's incredible, right? Come from concrete to e-commerce is quite a journey.
Yeah.
Matt, would you say there was some stumbles early on in your journey here, right? Our listeners love listening about the early parts of the,
Y-
obviously you're wildly successful today, but was there any struggles or early stories you can share with the audience?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is there's still struggles and there's still stumbles even now, because if you're not growing, then it would be easy if you're not growing, but we're always trying to grow and get better and improve. And so I would say that I think business is the ultimate inner game. It's always going to show you where you're not good enough and where you have to show up and The market
That's
changes
right.
and things that worked before don't work now. And so you're always iterating. And yeah, I will for sure say that you learn a lot more talking about the things that don't work than the things that do.
Got it. Was there like a pivotal moment you can name early on that really like kind of changed the game for you?
Yeah, so when we sold the platform that we were selling the t-shirts on, I had to figure out what to do next, and I decided to get into selling on Shopify. And so we started a kitchen brand, and we're selling these kitchen slicers and avocado tools. And at that point in my career, I was really good at running ads, which is part of the reason why I did so good with the t-shirts. I was good at coming up with ideas too. But, when we started the kitchen store, we got it up to a couple hundred sales a day pretty quick, and I thought, "Oh, this is easy. It's gonna be no problem." And started, adding upsells and a bunch of other things to my store, and we had just made a order of kitchen slicers from China for a couple 100 grand, so we had our own little warehouse and the whole 9 yards. We were completely vertically integrated, and the ad stopped working. So we had a couple $100,000 worth of product in the back room, and we were profitable on some days and not profitable other days, and it was a scary moment. And what I did is I saw a guy saying, "Hey, I'll teach you Google Analytics on by giving you 6 one-on-one calls over a 6 week period." I thought, well, I'd love to figure out how this data, look at data and see if I can make this better because it's not working the way it is. And I got a couple 100,000 reasons to figure it out. And so I did those calls, and each week we found things that I would then go implement in the store, and the conversions got better. And so by the end of that 6 weeks, we were back to uh, profitability almost every single day, and we're making good money and moving the product. And I realized, wow, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what I realized. And I really immersed myself in understanding that data. And that's really how BGS was born. At the time, I had a partner in the kitchen store who basically sold how to do funnels. Well, the stuff that I was doing on the stores that I was working on was working really well. So he started teaching that. And we kind of just merged the two businesses, and that became BGS. And so our our priority became teaching you how to get your Shopify site or your website to convert like a funnel does, or at the same numbers that a funnel did. Because back then, the conversion rate, was dismal, like a 1.5% to a Shopify site. And in all reality, a Shopify store back then, 10, 12, 10, 11 years ago, wasn't designed for conversions. It was basically online store catalog with inventory management. And so the changes that we made to the Shopify sites started getting massive conversions. And yeah, that's why out of 1,000 students that joined our membership, we had over 200 of them hit the $1 million mark.
Oh,
And
incredible.
if you look at the stats for Shopify, I think it's like 2 or 3,000 stores open a day or a week, and less than oh man, less than 10 of them make a sale. And so the odds are really poor. But the fact that over 20% of the people that joined our membership ended up selling over $1 million worth of product uh, tells you that what we do works, and it's really produced very predictable success over the last 10 years.
Wow, Matt, that's like remarkable results, right? If you think about it, at 20% rate.
Yeah.
Um, and there's just a lot of courses and mentorships out there. Obviously, you ran into some great ones in your
Yeah.
journey, your time.
Sure.
What would you advise entrepreneurs out there when they're looking for, a mentorship or a course or a class to join? What should be the key things that they look for to make sure that, they're finding the right one and not the scammers out there, let's call it.
Yeah, I think what made us different and still makes us different is we do it every day. This is what we're doing every day. So we're
Mm.
not teaching what we did last year. We're literally teaching you exactly what we're doing right now. And because we have about 15 large clients that are where we do all their data, their analytics, their split testing, optimizations, on stores that some of them do, upwards of 5 million a month, a couple of them 1 million a month. So we have a lot of data. And a store owner that's doing 30, even 200K a month, they're not going to have the same amount of data in a year that what we have in 30 days. And so for us, having that information and being able to share it in real time matters. I think a lot of the reason why the mentors fall short is one, it worked for them because they have a unique set of circumstances. No person's circumstances are exactly the same as who you're getting the advice from. And so if they're telling you do this, this, and this, that might not actually be relevant for you. And so for us, we're sharing what's working, and you can use that in a way to fit it into your circumstances. I think that's why our results are very, are speak for themselves.
That makes a lot of sense, Matt. I know you mentioned that a lot of business like data driven, right? How important is that, right? In the way that these new business owners should be thinking when they're tackling an online store, and any key metrics they should be keeping up with?
Yeah, I would say that over the last 3 or 4 years, that's become critical. In the beginning, because it was such the Wild West, you could get away with just saying, "Hey, this works for us," and you could try it, and lots of people would get results from it because we kind of proven it as a best practice. Shopify has continued to improve, improve, improve. E-commerce competitions continue to improve, and so I really think nowadays you're going to try two or three things to find the one thing that works, and predicting that this is the magic pill or that this is the thing that's going to give you that laptop lifestyle, that's the person that you should run away from. Um, we certainly have metrics that we think a good, healthy store should have, and we can tell you where the red flags are and things like that. But it's no longer a laptop lifestyle to run an e-commerce business. It really requires you to be committed, that you understand your numbers, and that you're working at it. Because if you're not, your competition is, and they're willing to take your business from you.
Yeah, and it's heavier than ever, right? Because I remember like when during COVID, I would go visit some of these sites and they'll have the worst like web design, like
Yeah,
scammy looking. I'm like,
yeah.
Is this store really making $100,000 a month? Like with this kind of UX and design? Matt, can you kind of talk about kind of the evolution there from when we were in the COVID, the crazy era I was called drop shipping, to where we are in the e-commerce world today, where I see much cleaner and better UX design.
Yeah, most of the payment processors have completely um, gotten rid of drop shipping. It's just not a very viable business anymore. And I think now with the tariffs, it would be even harder.
Right.
We've never really worked in that realm at all. So we always told everybody drop shipping is good for cash flow, but it's not good as a business. So it's a good way to find your product to market match and then build a store around that. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend drop shipping. And so, yeah, I think a specialized store works much better than a general store, and it needs to be very customer focused. The consistent thing that I see across all of our brands that win is the owner of the brand is extremely good about customer service and cares about the product and the kind of the culture around how they treat the customer. And that's really what gets people to come back and buy again and again. And in today's market with ad costs, everything else, where before you could be like when we were selling those t-shirts, you could be profitable on the front end and make a lot of money. We
Yeah.
would sell the shirt for $32, have $10 in the shirt, $10 in ads, and make $10 on the shirt after we shipped it and make a lot of money. Nowadays, most of your sales are going to break even on the front end when you're acquiring customers, and the profit of your business is brought in through the relationship, the email, and the follow up, which is where you'll get upwards of 25 to 40% of your revenue. And that's where you can be profitable and actually build a long term business.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of user acquisition costs, it has skyrocketed, right, since COVID. Do you still recommend people follow the old try and true Facebook ad route where, they try to make a viral video, try to get user engagement that way? Or there's like new revenues now, right? There's Snapchat, there's TikTok in the game, of course, Google, right, being another revenue. What is the
Yeah.
recommended path now these days for marketing?
Yeah, I think for shopping, Google is the most profitable. They've gotten really good at serving ads to people that are gonna buy, where you can make a little bit of money. Facebook doesn't care. You can give them $1,000 and they'll blow $1,000 in a day. It doesn't matter. So, but you can still make a lot of sales through Facebook. So I would say Google is like tried and true. That's going to be like a staple that you're going to always run. It is very much way less management than Facebook. So it's probably the first avenue that I would go after and get good at.
Mm,
But it's not as scalable because they go by based off of buyer intent, search terms, et cetera, and whoever's willing to pay the most for the click. Facebook is much better for awareness, top of funnel, and getting the emotional buyers. So I think it takes both. Uh, I've not seen TikTok ads work very well as a front end funnel. I've seen it work very well as like an awareness, and then you retarget those people back. And then also like TikTok shops and things like that have done very well. So if you're selling inside of their shop environment, that can work. But as a overall strategy, that would probably be like the very last one that I would look at. I would certainly go with Google first, then Facebook, and then try the other alternate channels.
got it. You heard it here first from Matt's mouth right here. Google first, then
Yeah.
Facebook, then try the rest. That's the
Yeah.
recipe. Yeah. So one of the struggles I always see our client Matt is that they get this great first wave, right? Where they get this first time buyers in the store. They make gamebuster sales for the first 6 months, and then start kind of slowing down, right? It's kind of going off a cliff. And I think the reason when we dig into the numbers is like they have a hard time getting those first time buyers to buy and buy again, right? Become repeat customers, if you will, right? And I think it's because they don't know how to do the post sale conversion part of things. Any advice for these entrepreneurs that seems like they have made it, right? But they kind of fall off a cliff when they're trying to think about long term success here?
Yeah, I think part of that is everybody's been sold that you don't need to talk to your clients. You can just put an email on your website and let them email. And so they have this mentality of, uh, I don't need to actually talk to anybody. I don't need to serve the client. I just need to sell them stuff. And people can feel the difference between someone who's running a business and someone who's trying to do a cash grab. And the cash grab worked for a long time and people are still selling it. I find the success rate on that is very, very, very low now.
Mm,
Um, Virality is not predictable. Data and analytics is, and it's very agnostic. It doesn't care about your product. It cares about what people are doing on your site, what they're clicking on, what they're looking at, how the UX or the UI of the site, if it's trustworthy. So there's a lot of factors that go into running a business that doesn't apply to someone who's drop shipping or just trying to sell a $29 widget for $5 and make some extra money. And I don't knock them for doing that. But for them to think that that's a long-term strategy to create anything that's sellable later, it's just not.
yeah. How important is it, Matt, for them to have kind of like a brand voice or brand story as part of their overall e-commerce journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always tell the owner you don't have a brand because they always say, oh, my brand this. You do not have a brand unless you can stop running ads and still make sales.
Hmm.
You build a
That's a good
brand
one.
by making sales. And so, how do you do that? The way that you make sales repeated over and over is you have a relationship with your client. And so, we don't even call them customers, we call them clients because you treat a client different than you do a customer. And clients you talk to, you email, you don't just say, buy my stuff, buy 20% off, buy my stuff. After a while, you've conditioned those people to stop opening your emails because they know that you don't care about them. But if you're actually providing content 2 or 3 days a week and then you have a sale once a week, that makes total sense to them and they're okay with that. So it really comes down to how you treat them. And I always tell the people the issue with your site is you're looking at your website as how do I make more sales? How do I make more sales? Instead of the client, when they come to your site, how do I solve my problem or how do I find what I'm looking for? When you start looking at your website that way, it's just a small paradigm shift.
Mhm.
but it's a huge difference in how profitable you are.
That was very eye-opening, Matt. I think a lot of business owners out there is probably in that former camp, right?
Yeah,
They're
I
all
mean,
they're
it's
thinking about
natural.
is,
We're
yeah.
trying to make money. But the truth of the matter is you make a lot more money if you solve problems than if you just discount all your stuff and try to get them to buy again and again. Eventually, they have 3 of your widgets, and then they're never coming back.
Yeah, I know, like, why they have 3 in the first place? I have no idea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That impulse buying that kicks in.
yeah.
And it goes without saying, Matt, in the last few years, AI has really taken the forefront across multitude of industries, right? What impact, or do you think it has an impact right now on how e-commerce ownership should think about setting up their business today?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's even changing how we do our job. The way that these large language models can analyze data is far superior to us as humans, like far superior. We can plug in all of their Google Analytics data, all their Shopify data, just a multitude of different the buying demographic, and have it give us roadmaps. And
So
the
nice.
longer and the better that we work on prompting it, the better ideas we get. And those ideas we've been taking back to our stores and implementing them and getting better results. So, yeah, I think when you believe that you already know what's true, you can get incremental gains. But when you open your mind up to what's possible, if I don't think I'm right, now I can see other avenues that maybe are worth testing. And uh, so I really believe it comes to having a very open mind and using data to make the decisions. And there's never been a better time for data analysis than right now with AI. The other thing that I see is, you know, 8 years ago when we had a couple stores doing a couple million a month, their teams are about 15, 20 people.
Mm.
Nowadays, we have a couple stores that do, 3, 4 million a month, and they use AI in a couple different places in their business. Uh, with the same size team, they're doing double the volume. And so I don't see it as a way to replace your team. I see it as a way to empower your team to do a better job with less resources or better resources so that the customer has a better experience and the store owner can actually be more profitable.
Any particular tools or resources you have come across, Matt, that you like to refer to our audience?
I mean, we use the large language models. We use all of them. We definitely use Gemini because Google is so integrated into Google Shopping, all of that, and the analytics of the website and all that. So definitely Gemini is very good. Chat GPT is really good. Um, Claude is great for copy, like product copy and even email promos. We use all of them. I think that if we weren't, then we're not doing a great job for our clients. It's our job to test and find the things that work the best and then bring that to them. And so, yeah, we're literally trying to figure out, uh, even though we think it's early and sometimes the stuff that we create, 6 months it's already outdated because the stuff's moving so fast. If we weren't learning now, when we get to the final product, that's too late because there's other people that are gonna use that final product and be amazing at it. And I don't want to start then. So we're working on it every day now.
No, it makes sense. Matt, where do you think we are as far as using AI for video creation? I seen a few preliminary clips here and there.
It's already it's
Seems
our
okay,
we're
but it's getting better and better every day. What you
I'm
say?
in some masterminds, and I saw a post on Friday from a very, very large YouTube ad guy out of Texas saying that he has the AI videos outperforming the ones that they've created in house right
Whoa,
now in a
that's
couple of
something.
different campaigns. So I really believe that in the next 3 to 6 months, it'll probably be 100% AI created. And the great thing about that for the store owner is you don't have to schedule a photo shoot anymore. You can literally have people holding your product, animated, etc., and it's going to do just as good a job as a photo shoot, and it's going to cost you 1/20th of the cost.
Yeah. Do you think there's a fear that as that takes over, it might saturate the market with this AI content out there?
No, I think whoever does it well is still going to rise to the top. There's tons of content out there now because people are using AI to generate it. But it's very mechanical. It's very the people that are doing it well are the ones that are getting the results. There's
Mhm.
always going to be the people that will go, oh, give me 20 blog posts, and they're going to post it. And
Yeah.
that's going to do nothing because it doesn't provide any value to the customer.
Got it. Yeah, that's the lazy prompter, right? Just one prompt and done, and then just try to
Yeah.
put out there. And then this could have to do AI. We're not mad, but I'm also wondering, how do you advise clients of yours on price optimization? Right, a lot of time, I see a lot of e-commerce owners struggling with that, not knowing what is the optimal price to charge their products, where they possibly having a price leak versus being overpriced versus the market, right, and not selling due to those reasons.
Yeah. I believe that there's always, um, enough people that are willing to race to the bottom and sell it for the lowest. I don't think that that's a good strategy long term. So part of the reason why we termed the or coined the term revenue optimization is because not all revenue is equal. Some revenue is very profitable, some revenue is break even. And so until you understand, there's going to be certain parts of your business that the goal is to get those to break even so that the other parts of the business that you do well can be very profitable. It's really, there's not a cookie cutter approach to the way that we do it, other than if we can get you to break even on the front end to acquire a customer, that gives you a much better opportunity to create a relationship with them and have a long-term sustainable business rather than being front end focused.
Mhm. What would you say is like the optimal point that they should kind of like contact you guys and work with you guys? Like, is there a revenue level or a certain product niche, right? Is there a sweet spot, right, for
Yeah,
folks listening
it's
in right now that says, hey, am I ready to work with Matt and his firm?
yeah. So the one thing that I think is that's a great question. A lot of people ask that. And the truth of the matter is data doesn't care, and we're very data driven. So our success has been predictable across t-shirts, hats, supplements, shoes, jewelry, etc. Because we're optimizing based off of how people are browsing the store and using best practices for that. Uh, yeah, I really don't think that there's a particular niche. Really, this is my overarching belief is that businesses don't have business problems, they have people problems. So I can guarantee you that anybody that has a store, even if it's struggling, I can go find a competitor that's not struggling. And so what's the difference? It's the people that they have running the business. And so the people that are having business problems, it's a little bit of a wake up call, because I'm just going to tell them the truth. It's not a business problem, it's a people problem. What got you here probably won't get you to that next level. And so you hanging on to people who aren't doing their job or who aren't embracing AI or who aren't caring about how their website works or who are not emailing their clients, they're going to struggle compared to the people that are operating a good clean business.
Got it. So I think so. What you do is you go and look at all the data available in the store, right, and really do a deep dive of what's
Yeah.
going on under the hood, right, to
Yeah.
determine a bit if they are I guess a client that can work well with you guys.
Yeah, yeah, and because our business model, it really works around, we want people to have volume. It's hard to get traction. It's much easier if a store has some movement to go ahead and turn that into momentum. And so I would say if you're already making sales and maybe you're struggling at being profitable, that's where we can help. Or if you have some volume, but you've never actually really worked hard on optimizing the customer journey from when they land on the website till they give you money, that's where we get that hockey stick growth. And so we're really looking for clients. um, we can help them with a couple of our lower offerings if they're doing 10, 20 grand a month. But our big long-term partner clients, they really got to be doing 100 to 200,000 a month. And then we can bolt onto there and really make it work, get the growth that they're looking for.
Got it. What if they're still hanging on to the drop shipping model?
I would look at their data and try to help them find one product to focus on and stop talking to everybody and start talking to the one person that really wants that product.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. So, Matt, I know you obviously a while successfully entrepreneur at this point. What helps you stay motivated?
I really like to problem solve. So when people come to me with problems, I actually like that. That's what I enjoy doing is figuring it out. And when we do that, the store owner wins and we get to watch them, whatever success means for them to achieve success or build a business that helps them, build their dreams. I love doing that. Like I just really enjoy it.
Got it. And then, are you at a point where you feel like you have a team so that you can enjoy some work-life balances in your life?
Yeah, we do. There's about a little over 30 people on our team. I don't, I think my work life balance is I really enjoy what I do. And so I'm kind of always on and it doesn't bother me. Um, yeah, I'm not the poster child for the guy that works 8 hours a day and then goes home or you can't get a hold of them. Our clients become my friends and their business is running 24/7. And so when they have an issue, I have no problem helping. And yeah, I think that's why our business probably is not scalable to 50, 60 of those partner stores for that reason. But we had a point where we had 70 people on our team
Wow.
and I didn't enjoy that as much. So where we're at right now, I really enjoy it when we work with someone. It's very hands on, and their results matter to me a lot, and that's why I enjoy coming to work every day.
When you're as passionate as Matt, you have kind of found your true calling, right? And the work doesn't feel like work anymore. So
Yeah,
that's incredible. How do you kind of define success for yourself in the next 5 years?
great question. I have a couple of initiatives that I'm working on where I'm going to work with specific owners of different e-commerce brands and I'm excited about that. The second thing is over the last 10 years, we worked very hard with people in the physical product space. In the last 2 years, we've started helping lead gen and digital products. And those have been a lot more successful for us because if you're selling a widget and you're selling 100 a day and I increase your conversions to you sell 200 a day, that creates new problems with fulfillment, with inventory processing, and a bunch of other stuff. And it's a good problem to have, but it still creates other issues. When you have a digital product, they can go from 100 leads a day to 1,000 leads a day. And it doesn't change their business as far as delivery. And so those types of products and digital products have, uh, I believe over the next 4 or 5 years, probably half of our company will focus on that and half will focus on the physical product space.
Oh, exciting. It's like a transformation of your company, split into two
Yeah.
different main sectors, would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Cool. Matt, so we're at the sector where we kind of pivot and talk about more the financial management side of the business, right? People love knowing about it, but hate talking about it because taxes and bookkeeping are the last thing on entrepreneurs' mind, right?
Yeah.
When they're starting, but they're very important. They're the bedrock of what keeps business long term and successful. So, Matt, for you and your agency, how do you approach managing the financial side of your business?
Yeah, I hired a CEO who was a retired CPA, and that
That
has made a
works.
huge difference because to be totally honest, I fall in that camp of the people that don't like looking at that side of the business. I
Of
love helping
course.
it win, but I don't want to go through all the numbers on the back on that side of it. And so I'm probably not the one to give advice. I would recommend that people would talk to your company and people who specialize in that. Just like what I've noticed is our business really took off and really started growing when we started saying no to all the other things that people wanted us to do and just focused on what we were awesome at. And I really have found that our clients do much better when they have someone that just manages the numbers and then that person is involved in the strategy of the business rather than uh, make more sales. Because a lot of times the business owner will make a lot more sales because that's where they get their adrenaline hit, but they don't realize until 60 days down the road that a lot of those sales weren't profitable and they actually created a problem for themselves. And so, yeah, we definitely want their numbers to be clean. In fact, before they work with us, we make sure all their data is accurate because if I always just use the phrase garbage in, garbage out. If you give me garbage data, I'm going to give you garbage advice. Even if it was good for the data that I got, the data was bad. And so you're going to get hit or miss or false positives. So the data is critical for us to optimize the site. And I think your numbers and the financials are critical for the health of the business.
Yeah, it's always wild to me when a business owner comes to me and says, "Hey, I've been, operating for the last 3 years. We made seven figure in sales." And then I ask about their profitability. I ask what margins they're making, and they have no idea,
Yeah.
right? They say, "Hey, this money coming to my bank." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Do you know when that money's gonna go out of your bank? When Uncle Sam comes calling?" Right? They
Yeah.
have no clue, and it's
Right.
it's very scary, right? When they come to that realization, you see the look on their face, and they're like, "Oh shoot, I
Yeah, well,
probably
they
should
had a
have
good
thought about this a little
idea
bit
and
more."
they built a business around it, and they just didn't realize they didn't take into fact, they didn't factor in all the different aspects of what a business really involves. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Matt, would you say from your experiences, obviously, is there a certain break even or certain revenue threshold that you advise your client or e-commerce owners out there to kind of look for that help, right? Stop trying to do everything all at once yourself. Find those experts in those areas to kind of offload it. Be an actual CDO, right? And just focus on growth.
Yeah, I honestly, I would say do it as soon as you can possibly afford it, if not even before. I
Mm.
think most entrepreneurs where they run into a problem is when they try to do it all themselves. You don't have to have a full-time CFO. You can get a fractional one. You can get someone who's really good at understanding your QuickBooks and all the numbers for very low cost nowadays. And it really isn't, it's really not a barrier to entry to running a business anymore, as far as like having to have a very high powered person to do that. As the business grows, there's going to be certain tax strategies and things that those lower level people probably don't understand. But getting your numbers clean and understanding those is how you're going to actually become profitable. And if you're profitable, then you could scale.
Got it. No, Matt. Speaking of that, any tax strategies that you heard over the year that you particularly like that you want to share with the audience?
I don't really think I'm probably not the one to advise tax
You
strategies.
left there with the CEO, huh?
Yeah, I certainly there's a couple that I'm using right now around Bitcoin and putting them on the balance sheet as a strategy. So I think that there's um lot of reasons to do that, but I certainly couldn't probably teach that.
All good, all good. And that's why you have a team behind you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Matt, would love to get your insight. Like, where do you see the industry as a whole, e-commerce, kind of shifting and trending, especially with the emergence of AI in the next 5 to 10 years? Any
Yeah.
like one or two things that you want people to focus on as they think ahead?
Yeah, I would say for sure all of the e-commerce products are now involved. They're including AI in their services. Shopify is, the customer service parts are, the email writing. I would say that's AI is going to give you the ability to do the same amount of revenue with a smaller team. And if you don't, you're going to run into a problem there. Like I said, I don't think businesses have business problems. I think they have people problems. So the more people you have, eventually, when I had a team of 70, I had 70 people draining my energy. And so I had less
Mm.
time and effort to actually come up with good strategies for optimizing the conversions. And so with 30 people and a good organizational structure, I have a lot more time to do that. And so I really do believe that the people that use AI to empower their team, it's going to be less energy leaks on the owner, and it'll give them a lot more time and attention to work on the business instead of in the business.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very powerful, right? And very much of an advocate for the power of AI in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yep,
Um,
and the other thing is I really feel like e-commerce is probably in the 3rd or 4th inning of, if we likened it to an analogy of a baseball game, it's still evolving, it's still developing. There's a lot of money to be made. In fact, the best client I've ever had in the last 12 years just started with me 3.5 years ago, and this year he'll do over 60 million. So he's
wow.
had meteoric growth. The people think, oh, it's saturated. He's done a really good job. He's very profitable. There's a lot of opportunity. You just have to be willing to put the work in.
Mhm. All right. Speaking of which, Matt, we're now a sector where we call the final advice, right? If you can give one piece of advice to someone just starting their entrepreneurial journey, what would it be? Be one, two, a simple step to get started, something to get them off their couch. Stop complaining that it's only for those people that I see on the radio, on TV, on a clip, but I can do it too, right? We can
Y-
just take a moment and think about what would that be? That'll be something that would be great to show the audience here.
Yeah, my first instinct is don't quit. There's so many people that were so close, that would have amazing businesses now, but they just gave up too soon. And the truth of the matter is, this is probably the best time I've ever seen to be self-employed. There's all kinds of new emerging markets, and so you don't have to compete, or you can compete against these big powerhouses, even as a small single entrepreneur. I really think just don't quit and have the attitude of there's no such thing as failure. There's just feedback. So you tried this and it didn't work. What part of it did work? What part could you do better? Where can you improve? And over time, you're going to get better and better. I think that skills are just like a muscle. The more you work it, the better the skill gets. And when you're good at what you do, most people are not willing to work hard. And so if you have a good work ethic, you're going to automatically eliminate about 80% of your competition.
Don't quit, find a new avenue, and outwork them, right? Most people won't be willing to do that. They'll still be
Yeah.
stuck to their couch and won't be willing to get up, right, and actually
Yeah.
do the work.
I have a shirt I wear at least one day a week that says nobody cares, just work harder. And,
Oh,
it is my mentality of, and then that's probably not the thing that they want to hear, but the truth of the matter is there's lots of people that are willing to do that. And if you're not, you're gonna struggle.
is that shirt selling well on the store?
It's not my shirt. It's the guy does sell a lot of them though. Yeah,
Yeah, I bet, right? So that sounds very motivating.
yeah,
Awesome. Matt, that has been fantastic. That has been packed with powerhouse advice for this episode. How can listeners out there reach out to you and really just connect with you, right? If they want some more advice here.
yeah. We're gonna give you a calendar link where they could book a call, and we could do an audit on their website and give them some actionable advice just on that call. And then if they choose to want to do business with us, they can, or just go to buildgrowscale.com. And there's ways to get a hold of us on there too. You can email me at matt@buildgrowscale.com too.
Fantastic. Guys, we'll put all the contact information from Matt, including the call link, in our show notes below. So please take a look. Matt, that has been fantastic. We learned so much about VGS. Thank you for coming on the show, and we can't wait to see what you do next year and the years beyond. Hopefully, you can come back as a guest at that point and give us an update.
I'd love to. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, guys. Guys, we are out. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode.